Okay, welcome to the third installment of this season's Behind the Bar. We are so excited to be interviewing our resident companies. We've had LSO and we just talked to Poplar, and it's so exciting to hear what is going on with these resident companies in a COVID world, but then just really talking about their upcoming season. We're so hopeful in 2021 to have these people back with crowd sizes of whatever they will be, and their crafts are so important to the Academy. So today we have two amazing guests to my right. Emily Hartka, I'll start with you. She is the co-founder and co-director of the Charlottesville Ballet. Because the Nutcracker, I just need to say about the Nutcracker really quickly. When I first started, I say this all the time, our programming for Christmas was Die Hard. That is all we showed my first year.
Yep.
We showed Die Hard. And it was just dismal to me, even though my other half would tell you that it is a Christmas movie, and it is a Christmas movie. I agree with that. But I was like, what? There's no Santa. There's no magical anything. And then we opened this theater, and the Nutcracker is like just this, it's like this, it's the root of Christmas. It is so wonderful to have on our stage. So
we're happy to bring the magic.
Thank you for bringing that. With you today, you have Keith Lee, who is celebrating a 70th birthday.
It's my 70th birthday.
Don't look at a day, sir.
Thank you.
You are not only a choreographer for the Charlottesville Ballet since 2008 and currently a resident choreographer, but you are also the new director of diversity and inclusion, which is such an important role right now in today's society. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And we want to hear more about that after we hear from the man at the end of the bar. The man at the end of the bar is Fred Scheib. He is not only our facilities manager, he's our beer aficionado. I don't know if you guys know that. He's got a new name tag that's currently being printed. So let's hear about this beer that Emily Hartka actually picked out today.
Yes, Emily picked this out. And, from our generous sponsors at Blue Ridge Beverage that provided all this fine beverage. This is from Beals Brewing in Bedford, Virginia. It is called Beals Peach Tea Blonde Ale. And it is a carefully selected blend of loose leaf black teas, and they make for a smooth, malty, sweet blonde ale with supple notes of peach nectar and a lingering floral aroma. Catch that hint of peach fudge bite in the finish. That's what it says. Yeah. So let's go ahead and pour this and try it out.
Well, cheers, guys.
I know, right? Cheers. Okay, we can remove our masks.
Okay, great.
And then let's take a sip.
Cheers. Wow, you can smell the peach.
I'll get
You can smell the peach as soon as you pour it. Yeah.
That is lovely.
It tastes like tea. So we haven't mentioned that we have someone who did not want to be on camera, but is sitting in the corner as a co-founder as well. I did not know how many co-founders does Charlottesville Ballet have?
Well, we had two co-founders, me and Sarah, and then our original company that Keith worked in back in the day, there were 5 total dancers. Myself and Sarah, Ty Cooper, who's here in Lynchburg, his first visit to the Academy, redone, as well as Caitlin Lennon, who now serves as our associate director, and a wonderful young woman, Neva Russo, who was there at the beginning.
Ty, I feel like you should just walk over. Just come on over and show that handsome face of yours. Who just saw our theater for the first time today.
Do you have any reactions?
Yeah, I was able to blow them away.
Actually stunning. I kind of felt like I was walking into the Met. Like, it's beautiful. I remember maybe a decade ago coming here and seeing it like literally like a husk of dust with pigeons in it. And it's breathtaking now. It's really astonishing.
Well,
to that.
Nothing is better than getting someone's first impression of that theater. If you've ever had a bad day as an employee, or you just are like at your wit's end about something Academy related, you take somebody in there who's never seen it and you're like, okay, I have a great job. My job is the best job, actually. Right, Fred?
Oh, absolutely.
As somebody who's worked here for 14 years, we both that happens to us all the time.
No more,
so.
not a better joy than just showing you that theater, which is
epic. I was trying to hold back a little bit because I was like,
yeah.
I'm excited. But it was like really something like.
I don't watch what I said. I didn't want to get crying or anything. I just
It's crazy. So you have the projection screen down, and that was all of it. I was like, oh, it's lovely. And then I go behind it, literally, like enough room to do a full grand jeté pass back there, just behind the curtain there. It was incredible. It really is. It's lovely. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining and for enjoying this IPA. And even though you didn't want to sit here, you come back in at any moment of this conversation for as much of it as you will. Okay?
We'll do.
Okay, so we have so much to talk about because, to be honest, you, for us, are a longer drive than any other resident company that we have. So we don't get to see you nearly as much as we see, like, some of our other right down the street. We could throw a rock at these people, residents. So what I learned today is that you have 27 employees, which I don't even think I knew that, and that you have 20 people in your company. And I'd love to hear a little bit about what COVID has looked like for you guys as a performance organization.
Sure. Well, I guess for us, pre-COVID, let's do the snapshot. It's March 7th, 2020. We're here in the beautiful Academy.
One of the last performances we had in the building.
We had our Snow White, so we were so grateful to be here. We had dancers from all over the country and around the world that live and work here in Central Virginia. We also have a thriving school down on Route 29, up a little ways in Charlottesville. 600 students, and then the Chance to Dance program, our outreach program that Keith has been involved with throughout the years, that had serving, hundreds of students in the public schools. Obviously, COVID hit, everything is shut down, and what a year. I mean, 2020 has just been turned everything on its head. In terms of our professional company right now, they had gigs for Nutcracker. We presented a series of virtual things in 2020. We had contracts and had our dancers recorded all the way in Tokyo and here in the studios and here at the Academy stage. So we really made that work. But now in January 2021, professional company is on hiatus until we can kind of navigate the next season. And hopefully we're all crossing our fingers. Keith,
do you have an end date on that? Are you putting we're going to wait until such and such date to make decisions, or what does that hiatus mean to you?
We're working with our board of directors and our advisory council here in Lynchburg, and obviously Keith and Sarah Claiborne and myself are all kind of hopefully planning ahead and forging through. Keith is working right now. We have our trainee dancers, which maybe Keith, you can talk a little bit about. There are 8 dancers, most of them young, ages 16 to 20s. And we are maintaining that program kind of as the performing arm for now. So if Keith wants to talk about working with those students.
Yeah, we actually started right after Labor Day. We got in the studio. They put a method of being able to get there. We wore masks.
Is this in Charlottesville?
This is in our studio.
This is in the studio.
Yes.
So this was really chancy, but they really worked it out very, very well.
You're doing groups of 10 or less. Is that?
The program is only 8, and they have bar spots. And I mean, we asked Ty if he wanted to come take class today, but he had to sign up and have a bar spot and have the whole procedures and protocols. So we have a wonderful COVID-19 committee, as you guys know do. So that's been our kind of right now. Keith's been working with that group and our performing arm that's maintaining every week. They're in the studio and working.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to do some performances in March, and we're also doing, some demonstrations in February. And the piece is going to be finished actually next week.
Wow.
So I'm excited about it.
So where are those performances and demonstrations taking place? Are they all, again, in Charlottesville, or are you in surrounding areas? Or
we had hoped to have, we're making a film. That was always the plan, and hoping to have a live panel discussion. At this moment, it's all happening virtually because with numbers on the rise in Central Virginia, we said, we'll do it all virtual. Keith is now an expert in Zoom at his ripe age of 70.
Yeah. I'm like a romper room reject when it comes to Zoom.
Yeah. But we're doing it, we're creating.
I can relate.
It's impressive. Only occasionally do I have to walk into his office and show him where something is, but he does pretty good.
So we're virtual for now. We're crossing our fingers and kind of figuring out where the budget is and how we can make next fiscal year for us with July 1st. So that's where we're at for now with the professional company and performances and our, public engagement. And then our school for we audition students here in Lynchburg that work and perform at the Nutcracker with our professional company. And that's all in hiatus. Typically that's in September. We come here, we work with our partner, Central Virginia Ballet, and we are crossing our fingers that September looks better than now. So that's kind of our vision, is being back here on the Academy stage and producing a Nutcracker. But again, that's all tentative.
Yeah.
And the school has been a huge driver of growth for the organization, for the Charlottesville Ballet. And we had 600 students pre-pandemic. We're now up to, I think, 378 was my last number from our Academy manager. But that's been a real challenge for us and for our employees and our teachers and keeping everyone on staff. So,
have you been able to keep your staff at 27?
We had first round PPP funding and EIDL, and our board of directors and our donors have just been incredible. I think we've all seen that as arts organizations.
How large is your board?
Our board is 10.
I think it's 10.
10. And Keith
That's
also,
that's a small engaged.
Yes.
That's great.
Keith has been serving on the advisory board for.
Yeah, that's been really.
So you're part of the Lynchburg advisory board. Yeah.
Yes. And so basically doing that, we just had a diversity meeting with the board. And so we're pushing ahead and working on inclusion and working on having more Blacks and Hispanics and more human beings.
I love that.
More human beings in the program.
Yeah. So how did you get into it? So you've been with the ballet for obviously a long time. So did you just know that he was the right fit for this position that you're now acquiring, or
I could talk about art?
Yeah, I'd love to.
It was really,
it's a very important position right now in today's world. And
I'll let her, start.
Well, I think we should say that I have known this fine man since I was the young age of 12, when I was the Bambino.
I know we were talking before we started, and she was called a Bambino. So
I grew up training in Roanoke, so right down the road. And Keith came, and I was at Roanoke Valley Theater, and he made a piece, and I was not advanced or old enough to be cast. I was devastated that I wasn't going to get to perform, but I was an understudy, and just having Keith's presence. I mean, Keith was the first African-American soloist at the American Ballet Theater, and to know that you have that history and this great man that has been there, that's been breaking barriers since 1968.
Yeah,
when you
that's
went out
a little while ago.
Yeah. Keep living.
Many moons ago.
And working, I mean, you can talk more about working with Alvin Ailey and all these greats that I knew and I'd read about, and to have him and have his impact as a young person was just huge.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And then working with Keith many years later when we founded Charlottesville Ballet, and we were coming Dance Theater of Lynchburg days. We were over down here, over on Commerce, and coming all the time.
That was crazy. They were coming over,
I remember that
and that was really wonderful. But when I got this initial call just recently, I was shocked.
I love that is
past
two
tense
syllables
for shock.
with you. I love it. Yes.
Yes. But it was it felt good because, it put me in another role, a role that I really, really wanted to do. I've always been about inclusion. I've always been about diversity. When I first came here to Lynchburg, when I was working with the Virginia School for the Arts, I was about inclusion. I've always, the underserved, and there was so many people out there not having the opportunity for this and that. And so when she invited me to do this, I just felt so good, because most of my life has been about serving and been about inclusion.
And I think
so. What's going to change too? So at the ballet, when we talk about that, what's going to look different for your company in 2021 because of this really valuable role that you're filling?
Well, it started off like before they even offered me the job. There was the riot.
Yes.
It was the riot that happened. And, it hit me right here. Okay. And they asked me to do a ballet. And, I had spoken like the year before about it. Finally, when it happened, I decided to do a piece called Just Make Believe.
And that premiered February of 2020. February of 2020.
It was right there. it was the answer to the Charlottesville riot. When you see it, you go, oh my goodness. It couldn't have been scripted any better.
And this piece premieres, we did it in our studio theater with Keith. And we said, okay, at the next board meeting, we said, this is going on stage. It's going on stage at the Paramount. We're going to do it at the Academy.
I remember you talking.
I spoke with Tabitha. I was like, we need dates because this piece that Keith has made needs to be seen. It's healing for Charlottesville. It's about unity. And then the world shut down. So, internally, I'm sure lots of us in organizations and as leaders have had these discussions of, okay, let's, all these organizations, let's get an outside consultant. Let's do diversity training. Let's do this. Now's the time. Sarah and I just felt, okay, this is part of the DNA of our organization. We've always said we want to celebrate everybody, having dancers that don't necessarily fit the part. I mean, it's been 400 years. Ballet is entrenched in this patriarchy and misogyny and all of these issues of race and diversity and inclusion. And we kind of made this little ballet company to have a different concept.
But I've also always been said about your company.
Yes.
I mean, you do not have just white people on the stage. And I think that is magnificent because some people might equate what ballet is to this, this being white, and it's so not. And dance universally is not. And so I think I've always been super impressed by your selection and who you're putting in your performances because they're very inclusive, and that's amazing.
And that's why we're here and why we've grown so much. And so for us, when we had with, Charlottesville and being now the Charlottesville Ballet, that has more context, that's richer and deeper, and that has, to me, it has a lot of weight. I have a lot of
it does.
Nervousness about living up to that and what we could be and how we could do it. And then after 2020 and all of the issues that we've all faced kind of come to head and having those conversations as a nation, we thought, Keith has been here since the beginning. He's always had this mentorship, this leadership role. He's been doing the work behind the scenes.
So when anybody ever talks to me about dance in Lynchburg, Keith Lee's name comes up. It's
absolutely. Yeah.
That's
somehow,
very interesting.
somehow
I had no idea.
And you're like, it's almost like you know Keith Lee, and I'm like,
wow.
Oh, okay, yes. It's like he constantly wiggles your way into anything
thought it was
to do
a
with
secret.
Yeah,
But
right.
you know what though? What's really, really cool is that the mission of this company was paralleled with Alvin and Alvin Ailey, because Alvin really believed in all kinds of body types, all kinds of color shapes, and da-da-da. And then, here we were at the very beginning, out at a barn.
At a barn. Let's talk about the barn for a second. Is this
Ty, come here a second.
Ty, get back
come
in
over,
here,
Ty.
Ty. I know you said you
Come
didn't
on
want to
over
be on
here.
camera, Ty, but I just don't see a way out of this for you.
Yeah.
We have to say.
So let's just get honest.
Because
here.
he has to tell you about the barn.
Okay.
Because he was one of the dancers.
Socially distance and tell us about the barn, Ty. There we go. There we go. Now we're COVID safe. You're perfect.
So
Perfect.
Dance Barn was, I guess, maybe almost 40 minutes from Charlottesville.
This is Standardsville, Virginia.
We drive every morning from Charlottesville all the way up to Standardsville, past Green County. You drive all the way up there to rehearse in a space that, maybe would fit in this lobby. You know what I mean? And we made the backbone, the roots of Charlotte Ballet, we built in that little space. And, it amazes me that we have all that we have now, but we literally started out in a retail space next to a Dollar General and a pizza place.
And let's talk about your space now, because I don't know that Lynchburg quite even understands where your location is in Charlottesville. So where are you located? How much better are the amenities most likely than this barn?
We moved 30 minutes closer to Charlottesville.
Nice.
We are now technically on the outside of Charlottesville city limits. We're in Albemarle County.
Albemarle, right.
However, the confusion about the area is that Charlottesville is a very small city. It's 10 square miles. Most of what you acknowledge or see as Charlottesville is actually Albemarle County, and it extends roughly 7 square miles. So we are actually in the county that is best for us. We're not officially in the city.
If we had 3 million, we could be right there.
The budget for our fundraising went up a little bit. Maybe that would be the thing. But honestly, the space, remember when we found it, that space, she was trying to keep it a secret. I'll never forget this. She kind of dropped the first time that we got in the space by giving a code to something. It was 1885 was the code something. And I remember, why did she say that? What is that referencing? Literally, she drives me to the new theater. She's like, is our new home, and I was like, oh my
We
God.
surprised all the dancers.
How did you find this space that you
Our
currently
board
in?
chair back in the day, Dr. Heather Snyder, who serves as our medical director, had been searching and searching because we were in, it was 30 by 20 maybe, the barn?
Yeah.
30 by 20. If you think about the academy stage, I mean, we were dancing on half of that with the company of 10 dancers, and there's only so much you can do to create. And we found it, we kept it a secret. Sarah and I did little fundraiser. We had hard hat galas. I mean, we were coming from grassroots.
It was wonderful, the smell of the horses. And, I mean, it was just wonderful.
But imagine, we had people coming from New York and like California.
You were bringing in these people from all over.
They would come audition, and we'd be like, "You'll see cows, but keep going."
Yeah. Move past the cow farm too.
So that was really. I mean, we joke about the humble roots of the show.
We all at the Academy, and I have to say this, and I mean it with like everything that I'm saying, is that we talk about how you guys hustle, and it's awesome. Like literally, like Emily, you send an email, this woman, and it is like bullet points and references to another email that's buried somewhere in my email. But then she'll even like send the date she sent it, so I don't have to look for something. I mean, it's like so on top of things. And you are one of our favorite residents to work with, because we know when you get here, it's not going to be like a cluster. Like we know that like you guys are organized from backstage to front of house. I mean, you even usually inhabit our front of house for days before your performance, where you were like on top of it.
That's what I'm here for.
You guys know how to hustle, and it obviously shows in the fact that you went from a barn to creating a professional ballet company, which is so exciting, and that now has an inclusivity officer, which is very important.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and we've had a lot of hard work. We say grit and grace on the way, but a lot of incredible donors and volunteers. I mean, we didn't pay ourselves. We paid ourselves peanuts in the beginning. Sarah and I didn't take a salary for the first 5 years in order to get this thing off the ground. And to us, having the partnerships with Keith and being here in Lynchburg, I mean, Lynchburg is part of the fabric, and knowing this is our vision, this is what could happen, this is where we can go, it doesn't feel like work. And when you're with these...
totally satisfied with the partnership journey that we needed to have, and it ties us to a lineage that's much bigger than us, especially with, I mean, all of the growth our house and now, and he was able to give us, you know, just a small piece of that for we all like kind of like he was just on that, and it was really like what we trust to have that on. So it was I think without that, we might have been a different organization, honestly, because we all are like really hard workers. We were. Regardless of like how high the leg is, you're not inspired by those things in front of you. It's kind of the point, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And ballet obviously means something to everybody. I mean, that's the key, I think, is that dance is really important to each of you, or you wouldn't fight for what you're fighting for as hard as you fight for, right? I mean, we all have our things that you guys. Obviously, because every conversation about dance in Lynchburg, Keith Lee sneaks his way.
Mr. Keith Lee?
Yeah.
Obviously, on his 70th birthday. Let's cheers Keith Lee right now for his 70th birthday. And the Charlottesville Ballet for such a momentous effort in the creation of what you've made. And it's really awesome. And it's so good to hear that COVID is COVID, but it hasn't hit your home as hard as it could have, right? It's that you've figured out ways to keep through that.
Is that so? Sarah and Emily started from the giddy up. We all trained at the same ballet company, State Ballet of Virginia and Richard Ballet. And one thing we learned from that organization is that depending upon federal grant funding is definitely not the best way, the best practice of keeping an organization alive during a tumultuous period. And I very, very seriously believe that if it were not for that thought form or that idea that you could earn the money ourselves and not be reliant upon the government, that we're still standing, because we know how to get that money. We know how to get the things.
It's called the hustle. It's called the hustle.
Yeah. So it's like built into like the fabric of this organization, because we just didn't depend upon the normal avenues for funding. And I think that's one of the things that they really wanted to do, and it has shown up in really great ways. Like today, when I went to the studio and saw you working with those dancers, like that was like, to me, the future. It was incredible to know that like the world will continue, because art is the highest form of civilization. First world countries need art to showcase their first worldness. And when I went in there and saw that, I was like, thank goodness the world.
It definitely brings us together. We talk about that a lot right now as an organization about how, just so you know, like we're so divided right now as a country, but we're so the ways we can sometimes seem similar is just in art, right? We you know, whether it's a painting or it's a pottery class we're doing, or it's just watching something on that magical stage. It's the one time that you can sit in a room with anyone, whatever color, race, background you have, and you can see the same thing. And that's why we all do this, right? I mean,
well, you know, it's a wonderful opportunity to get out of the house.
and there's that.
You know, like
when have you sat at a bar since COVID and had a drink?
Get out of the house, okay? And back into the studio. Like my daughter was going, you know, yesterday. She goes, "Oh, are you excited to go back?" Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Please.
And then I'm like, when I'm going to sleepy and I lay my head on the little pillow, I'm thinking steps, and I'm thinking I want to get back in the studio. That's what it is.
Creative.
You know?
Yeah.
It never leaves me. It's part of us. And so when right after Labor Day, when we hit the Marley again, I did an Ancha cease, split, and a double tour.
You were I don't even know what
In my dreams.
In your
you know,
dreams.
I don't know what any of that was, but it sounds complicated.
Yeah.
It sounds complicated.
He was 69 then, so it was
Yeah,
easier.
I was just a year younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yep.
So, so I know that you guys don't have anything on our calendar until Nutcracker. I know we're still kind of figuring out. We're doing this thing we do because we don't want another Die Hard here at the Academy. Although Jeff Kirshner might hate that I'm saying that, and I think Die Hard has a place, but it needs to Nutcracker too. But thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. But you guys make this place magical when you're here, and we so appreciate you. If there was anything else, we have just a minute or two left that you could say about the ballet, or that you would want this audience to hear. What is that?
I can plug
Plug
our
do it.
virtual event that will be on. Well, there's a couple things. Keith Lee will be doing a mini documentary. Is kind of what I'm calling it. It'll be the event is called Breaking Barriers. Keith Lee and celebrating 50 years of dance and theater, which is something to celebrate. We'll be hosting, Ty will be part of the feature film, and we have some guest interviewees from all over the country. They'll be part of the documentary. On February 20th, Keith and I will be hosting a free live Zoom event. We'll be talking about some of the diversity and inclusion work at the ballet and Keith's long history of making beautiful art. And then that will include the film. Obviously, I'll get to see that there. And it will live on our website at charlottesvilleballet.org. We'll have the film up from the 21st of February as part of kind of Black History Month celebration, which we feel should be the whole year, not just 1 month.
Always, yep.
And go all the way until the following month, March 21st. So that will be up on our website. You can see Keith live on the 20th, and then the full work in the film.
That's great.
Excellent.
Well, that is wonderful. We will absolutely look for that. Ty, never tell us you don't want to be part of this again, because you already were, and we should have pulled a chair up for you. But thank you for standing awkwardly in the back. We appreciate you. No, it's okay. It's okay. So we've been joking because I do an okay job at like starting this thing, but I do a terrible job finishing it every single time.
She's a couple beers in now.
Yes, and well, thanks, Emily, for reminding everybody about that. So the way that we're going to start ending this thing is just to look at the camera. So we'll all look down here.
This one?
And we'll go, cheers, everybody, from the Charlottesville Ballet and the Academy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.